So in this video, we're going to be answering the question of where will your AI agent get its information. The objective of this video is to help business owners understand data sources and create inventory. So you've decided to build an AI agent for your business. You're excited about the possibilities, but let me ask you this. Have you ever hired someone without knowing what job they're going to do? That's what most founders do with AI. They build an intelligent agent, but never clarify what information does this agent need to actually do its job. Your AI is like a new employee on day one. You can't expect them to be productive if you don't give them access to the information they need. And so in this video, this video is about making sure your AI has the right information before day one. Okay, so it all starts with your AI agent needs information, but where will it get it? Now there are two types of information that your AI needs. The first being your OLTP, which is your online transaction processing system. So basically, this is what's happening right now in your business, right? A customer just searched for something, an order just came in, and the inventory just changed. This information lives in your operational database, such as MySQL, PostgreSQL, MongoDB. It's yours, it's real time, it's critical for your AI to make immediate decisions. And so real-time information is like your cash register, right? And so when a customer walks into a store right now, the cashier needs to know how much inventory do we have in stock right now, what's the price right now, is this customer in our system right now. And so this information changes instantly every second. It's the pulse of your business, what's happening right now. And so your AI needs this real-time information the same way a cashier needs the till. Without it, every decision is based on guesswork. And so, like I said, OLTP is basically your business's real-time pulse. And thirdly is your OLAP, right, which is your historical information. OLAP is essentially online analytical processing, right? And so this is what usually happens. It's basically states, this is what usually happens. What did customers like this one usually buy? What's the seasonal pattern? What are the long-term trends, right? And so this information lives in your data warehouse, such as Snowflake, Redshift, BigQuery. It's all yours, but it doesn't need to be real time. Daily or weekly is fine. Your AI uses this to recognize patterns. And so another way to explain this is essentially historical information, which is the OLAP, is like your business's memory. A good manager doesn't just look at today's sales. They ask, what usually happens on Fridays? What were sales like last Christmas? How do our customers typically behave? And so this is your business's memory, patterns and lessons from the past. And so your AI needs this memory the same way a human needs experience. A rookie cashier makes different decisions than a veteran. The veteran has history. And so with the OLAP, your OLAP is essentially your business's accumulated wisdom. And then thirdly is the external information, right? This is information you don't have, essentially, such as weather data, competitor pricing, maps, demographics, economic indicators. You don't own this, you rent it from services. It costs money, $50 to $10,000, depending on what you need. And so essentially, external information is like, well, in this case, external APIs is like consulting and experts you pay hourly. You don't have a meteorologist on staff, but when you need weather forecasting, you hire one. Similarly, you don't have a competitor research team, so you pay for a competitor pricing AI. These these are experts you rent, not employees you own, right? For, if that's the right term to use it, right? And so what are external APIs? They're basically consultants you pay by the month. And so different storage strategies for different access patterns, right? So why do both real time and historical matter, right? Your AI is smarter when it combines both real time. It's at which, for example, this customer just searched for winter coats. Historical says customer like this usually buy accessories too. AI decides show them a matching scarf, right? Without historical data, AI is blind to patterns. Without real time data, AI is working with stale information. Hence, you need both, right? And so basically, another way of thinking about this is think about it as a chess grandmaster, right? They're not just looking at this position on the board, they're also remembering, I've seen this pattern before. Last time this happened, white won. The opponent usually responds with A, B, or C. And so what happens is they combine the current board states, which could be the OLTP, which is what's happening now, and the thousands of previous games, which is the OLAP, which are patterns and learning. The results of combining these two would be a move that's both responsive to what's happening and informed by experience. And so your AI needs the same combination: real time data to respond to what's happening, historical data to recognize patterns and learn from experience. Without one, they're incomplete. With both, they're powerful. So now we're going to real world. Let's get to the real world example, which is Uber, right? So yeah, here the goal is to essentially show you how a real world company addresses this, right? So with Uber, when they built their surge pricing AI, they needed to answer what information does this AI need. Think about it. Think about Uber's surge pricing AI like a concert ticket pricing system. Uber, you've probably used them. When Uber builds their surge pricing AI, they faced exactly this problem. What information does this AI need, and where will it get it? Their real time information, which is their OLTP, suggests that ride requests, the system, the ride requests coming in right now, which we did get from Kafka streams, which probably be millions per second. Driver locations right now, such as the GPS data updating every few seconds, and their current prices right now, you know, and their current pricing, their current prices right now, so, which is their pricing system, which is live. And their historical information would be what was demand like last Friday at 8 p.m., such as which would be stored in the data warehouse, what pricing worked well historically in the which would be stored in the analytics database. How do patterns vary by day of week and time, and when do surge events typically happen? And so their external information, which is their API rent, would be: is it raining right now? Is there traffic? Is there a concert or sporting events tonight? And so by combining all three, Uber can price perfectly. Too low equals loss of value. Too high, customers go to competitors. So, and so by understanding this, Uber knows, here's exactly what information we need. Here's where it is. Let's build the pricing AI. The result of this is faster development, better decisions, AI that actually works well. The impact: a 1% improvement in surge pricing accuracy, resulting in over $100 million in additional annual revenue. Think about that. Better information organization equals $100 million more revenue. And so here we get to creating your information inventory. Now, there are 4 steps to know exactly where your AI gets information, right? And so, now, step one, right? Um, so here's how you create your information inventory. 4 steps, right? Firstly, list every piece of information your AI needs. Ask yourself, for my AI to make a good decision, what does it need to know? Let me give you a real example. Say you're building a customer support AI. Ask yourself, who is this customer? Such as their name, history, account status. What did they buy before? Their purchase history. What are they asking? Their current message or ticket. What's our policy on this? The company guidelines. When did they last contact us? That's their support history. And so you have to write all of these down, and that would be your list, right? The inventory as your blueprint, so essentially creating an information inventory again is like, before a contractor building your house without a blueprint, they figure it out as they go. Walls in wrong places, electrical wiring messy, takes forever. After a contractor with detailed blueprints knows exactly what goes where, professional, efficient, done faster. And so your information inventory is that blueprint. One document that says, here's what information we need, here's where each piece lives, and here's who's responsible, here's what it costs, here's how fresh it needs to be. And essentially without it, your engineers or contractors improvising. With it, they're working from a professional blueprint. And so this essentially is the 4 step process of the 4 step process, right? So step one, list every information your AI needs, right? This is like a doctor's diagnostic checklist. Before before surgery, a doctor doesn't just pick up a scalpel, they check patient's medical history, allergies, blood type, current medications. They make a list because forgetting something is dangerous. Similarly, your AI needs a checklist: customer data, purchase history, current inventory, company policies. If you forget something, your AI makes bad decisions. And so make the complete list first. Secondly, is categorize real time versus historical versus rental, right? So this is done for each piece of information. For example, well, your real time, which is your OLTP, is this is information you own. You already pay for the database. It updates instantly as things happen. The cost to access is probably $0. The examples would be like, for example, your customer profile, your current inventory, and your active orders. Think of this like a restaurant kitchen. Your real time, what you prep fresh today. Lunch, your real time is basically what you prep fresh today, right? The lunch orders coming in now, inventory check today, and the cost you already pay the staff and kitchen. Then we have like, your historical information, your OLAP. This is also information you own. You own the data warehouse or analytics system. It's collected over time. The cost to access probably $0 additional, storage costs already paid. For example, the sales in this you have, for example, your sales patterns, your customer preferences, and and the seasonal trends. And then there's historical, for example, like historical, right, is what you learned from previous weeks. You know, tracking back to the restaurant example, Fridays always need two times in, you know, summer season runs hotter, hence you need more cold dishes. The cost already in your recipe book and the experience, right? And then there's your rental, which is your external information such as APIs, right? Um, So yeah, your external information through APIs. This is information you don't own. You rent across. You rent access from services. It costs money per month. It costs to access. Probably from 100 to 10,000 per month. For example, your weather maps competitor pricing, and in terms of going back to the restaurant example is what you rent from suppliers, specialty ingredients you don't have, catering equipment, and so forth. And so step three is show your list to your team and ask, is this complete, right? This is like fact checking with witnesses. If you're writing a history if you're writing a history of your company, you don't just interview the CEO. You ask operations, did we miss anything? Sales, what about customer data? Engineering, what systems did I forget? Different people know different pieces. By validating with everyone, you catch what was missing. And so, same with your information list. Different teams know different data sources, and so you validate with all of them. And then there is step four, which is create your official information inventory. This is like this is like creating an employee handbook or organizational chart. And so a mature company has organizational chart. Here's everyone's role, job descriptions, here's what they do, handbook, here are the rules. Your information inventory is the same. Data catalog, here's every information asset. Data descriptions, here's what each one contains, the rules, here's who can access and how often it updates. And so yeah, let me check this. Right, and so essentially what happens is let's look at the current frustration. In this state, here's what you feel. You're like a conductor trying to lead an orchestra where half the musicians haven't shown up and the sheet's music is incomplete. And so when you're frustrated, it's like we should be building, not discovering. Uncertain, do we have everything we need? Anxious, will we realize mid projects we're missing something? Reactive, we keep discovering problems too late. This is not how you want to feel about your foundation, right? And so in the desired state, here's what you'd feel, right? You're like a conductor with the full orchestra present, right? Complete sheet music and everyone rehearsed, right? In this state, you're confident. I know exactly what we have organized. You're organized, everything's documented. Strategic, we're making smart choices. Proactive, we plan for issues before they happen. And so this is how you want to feel. And with this one inventory document, engineering clarity, where you'll stop asking, where is customer data? Instead, you'll just check your inventory in 30 seconds. The strategic decisions you got, where before you just buy random APIs which were expensive and the value wasn't clear, to buying APIs only if ROI is clear, right? And it aligns with your strategic mission. Then there is the team alignment, right? Where before everyone has different answers to now everyone refers to the same source. Your cost awareness, where before surprised by hidden costs, 100K, which, cost awareness, before you were surprised by hidden cost, now your exact knowledge of data costs, And then there's faster AI development, where before, without inventory, it took 3 to 4 weeks discovering information sources. Now, 3 to 4 days to integrate sources, saving 2 to 3 weeks of engineering time. Better AI decisions. Without inventory, the AI is missing critical information. With the inventory, the AI has a complete picture, you know, results is a better accuracy. And the real numbers from Uber, right? The time spent discovering information, 3 to 4 weeks, results in 3 to 4 weeks. The time with inventory, 3 to 4 days, and so the cost saved was like $50,000 per project. Your revenue improved. The revenue improved with over $100 million annually from better algorithms. And this one inventory document is the difference between chaos versus order, um, confusion versus clarity, and wasted money versus strategic investment.